What if I told you? You're not lazy. You're not undisciplined. You're not broken. You're just trying to live someone else's life, chasing someone else's goals, using someone else's timeline. And that version of you, the one who's constantly exhausted, inconsistent, frustrated with yourself, that's not the real you. That's the version of you that's been trained to force discipline, instead of becoming a disciple of who you actually are. Let me ask you this. Have you ever set a goal that looked great on paper, but every time you tried to commit to it, you felt heavy, distracted, even angry? Like forcing yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. because successful people do, starting a gym plan you hate, launching a business because your friend did, building a life that looks great on Instagram, but empties you on the inside? That's not self-discipline. That's self-abandonment. And here's the truth. You don't need more discipline. You need more alignment. You need a way to find goals that are built around who you actually are. Take action that feels natural, not forced. Build habits that don't require a motivational video every morning. And most importantly, stop burning out on a life you don't even want. This video is a wake-up call for two kinds of people. The overwhelmed dreamer. You have big ideas, but no momentum. The exhausted achiever. You've been forcing results for so long, you forgot who you are. In this video, you'll learn why the world's version of discipline is broken. Why you're not lazy, your brain is just overwhelmed. A 3-part strategy to build unstoppable consistency without burnout. How to reset your identity around being a finisher, not a starter. And how to wake up each day excited to act, not fighting yourself just to move. I'm not here to tell you to grind harder. I'm here to help you unlock real discipline. The kind that doesn't feel like punishment, but purpose. Quick disclaimer. This isn't a magical fix. This is real mindset rewiring plus practical action. You'll still have to show up. But the version of you that shows up won't feel like a fraud anymore. Let's begin by exposing the real reason discipline has failed you, and what it's actually costing your energy, your health, and your future. Why traditional discipline fails. If you've ever said, "I just need more discipline," let me stop you right there. Because what you probably mean is, "I wish I could force myself to do what I hate until I get the result I want." Sound familiar? That's how most people define discipline, as a form of self-punishment. Do the painful thing. Ignore your feelings. Kill your excuses. Push harder. Suffer longer. And eventually, if you suffer enough, you'll succeed. But here's what that model really leads to. Burnout. Self-resentment. Inconsistent results. And a secret wish to quit everything and disappear for 6 months. That's not discipline. That's slavery. See, the world teaches you that discipline means force. But real discipline isn't about suppression. It's about structure. It's not about waking up at 4:30 a.m. to do things you hate. It's about waking up to your own design and protecting it with consistency. The cultural lie about discipline. You've been trained to think you're only worthy if you're suffering. You're only productive if you're tired. You're only disciplined if you're miserable. But guess what? That belief system was built for machines, not humans. You're not a robot. You're a person with rhythms, desires, values, and a calling. When you try to force your life into someone else's mold, you lose the energy, creativity, and vision that's actually meant to fuel your success. And the worst part? When that forced discipline fails, you don't blame the method. You blame yourself. You say things like, "I'm just not consistent. I'm too weak. I guess I'll never change." But you were never meant to follow their path. You were meant to build your system. That's why real discipline starts with something deeper. Authenticity. You don't become disciplined by copying other people. You become disciplined by becoming a disciple of your true self. Let's redefine it. Discipline equals devoting yourself to who you were actually designed to be. And once your habits are aligned with your identity, you won't need hype or pressure to stay consistent. You'll just flow. The cost of inauthentic goals. Let's get painfully honest for a second, because this might be the most important truth you'll hear all year. If your goals don't belong to you, your discipline will never last. You can borrow someone's morning routine. You can copy someone's hustle schedule. You can mimic the entrepreneur you saw on Instagram. But you cannot fake alignment. You cannot trick your soul into running toward a goal. That has nothing to do with your actual purpose. Here's the question that wrecks people. Whose life are you building? Is the version of success you're chasing even yours? Or is it something you absorbed from someone else's feed, book, or trauma? What happens when you build for the wrong reasons? Let's talk about consequences. 1. Chronic frustration. You feel like you're doing everything right, but nothing feels right. Every effort feels heavy. Progress feels fake. Joy feels distant. 2. Burnout disguised as productivity. You check boxes. You meet deadlines. You look busy. But deep down, you're tired, not from the work itself, but from holding up a version of yourself you don't even like. 3. Low-key resentment. You resent the job, the business, the body goals, the schedule, because none of it feels like it came from you. 4. Friction instead of flow. When your goals are authentic, you'll feel tension, but also energy. When they're inauthentic, you'll feel resistance every step of the way. The path won't just be hard, it'll feel wrong. 5. Internal division. You live in two realities. The version of you you're forcing into the world, and the version of you that's quietly dying inside, unseen, unheard, unlived. Alignment is not a luxury. It's a requirement. You can't build consistent habits around goals that violate your values. You might hit the goal, but you'll hate yourself when you get there. Or worse, you'll succeed on paper and feel like a fraud in your own skin. Here's your invitation. Reclaim your voice. Reconnect to your why. And stop sacrificing your soul at the altar of someone else's definition of success. Ask yourself, would I still want this goal if no one ever saw it on social media? Does this dream energize me or drain me? Am I chasing something I love or just running from something I hate? Coming up next, let's redefine discipline once and for all. Not as punishment, not as control, but as devotion to the truest version of you. The true definition of discipline. What if I told you, discipline isn't about forcing yourself to suffer? What if we've been sold a lie? That discipline means white-knuckling your way through tasks you hate, for results you're not even sure you want? What if real discipline wasn't about being hard on yourself, but about being loyal to yourself? Let that sink in. Discipline is loyalty to your vision, not slavery to other people's expectations. Let's change the definition. Discipline is not punishment. It's alignment. It's devotion. It's being a disciple of the person you want to become. The root word of discipline is disciple. And you know what a disciple does? They study. They follow. They commit, even when it's hard. They love what they're devoted to. So ask yourself, are you trying to be disciplined? Or are you becoming a disciple of your own vision? Why this matters. If you only associate discipline with pain, struggle, and failure, of course you'll resist it. But when you see discipline as an act of self-love, it becomes sacred. Imagine this. Discipline isn't forcing yourself to go to the gym. It's saying, I love the strong version of me I'm becoming. Discipline isn't forcing yourself to wake up early. It's saying, I care enough about my peace to protect my mornings. Discipline isn't skipping takeout for the 10th time. It's saying, I respect my money, my vision, and my future. Challenge your self-talk. Every time you think, ugh, I have to do this, flip it to, I get to show up for my future today. That's what a disciple does. They don't live by hype. They live by devotion. You don't need to be more aggressive. You need to be more intentional. You don't need more motivation. You need more meaning. When your actions are aligned with your identity, your habits stop feeling heavy and start feeling holy. Coming up next, let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain when you fail to take action. And why it's not laziness. It's something deeper. Why you still don't take action. Let's talk about it. You've got the vision. You've written the goals. You've watched the motivational videos. You've even had that fire in your chest moment where you say, this time I'm really doing it. And then, nothing. You procrastinate. You avoid. You scroll. You reorganize your to-do list for the 11th time. And eventually, you start whispering the lie. Maybe I'm just lazy. But here's the truth no one told you. You're not lazy. You're overwhelmed. You're confused. And your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, protect you. The real reason you're stuck. The human brain is a survival machine. It has one job, avoid pain and uncertainty. So when you set a huge, complicated, emotionally loaded goal like, change my life, launch a business, fix my finances, your brain says, that sounds dangerous. It doesn't see the dream, it sees the risk. And because you haven't given it a simple, clear, achievable starting point, it shuts down. It freezes. It tells you to watch Netflix instead. The brain needs two things to act: clarity, certainty of progress. When your brain doesn't know where to begin, it doesn't begin at all. And when it can't guarantee a win, it won't play the game. So you're not lazy. You're mentally overloaded. You don't need more hustle. You need more clarity. Big goals equals big resistance. Want to kill a great idea fast? Try to do it all at once. Example, I'm going to get in shape. Your brain immediately responds. That means 2 hours a day at the gym. No sugar. Meal prep forever. Cold showers at 4 a.m. And guess what? It gives up before you even start. The fix. Shrink the task. Shrink the threat. If the task feels painful or confusing, your brain will resist it. So your job is to make action feel easy. Not fake easy. Genuinely simple. 3-part framework for momentum. Okay, now it's time to rebuild your discipline from the ground up. Not with pressure. Not with guilt. But with a system that actually works with your brain, not against it. Introducing the 3-part momentum framework. This is how we go from overthinking to doing. From ideas to consistency. From shame to small wins that stack. You don't need a miracle. You need momentum. And this is how we build it. Step 1. Make it smaller than it feels comfortable. If your task feels overwhelming, you don't need motivation. You need to make the task so small it's laughable. Want to start writing a book? Open a Google Doc and type 1 sentence. Want to clean your kitchen? Wash just 1 dish. Want to get fit? Do 1 squat in your living room. Sound ridiculous? That's the point. Because once you start, 80% of the resistance disappears. Action leads to more action. Starting small is not weakness, it's strategy. Step 2. Use the 2-minute rule. Coined by productivity expert James Clear, here's how it works. Any new habit should take less than 2 minutes to start. So instead of read 50 pages a day, try read 1 paragraph. Build a business, try open your business doc. Fix your finances, try check your account balance. It's not about doing everything. It's about starting. Because starting equals momentum. And momentum creates belief. Step 3. Build a simple, repeatable routine. Once the task is small and simple, the next step is to place it in your day. Same time, same place. This is the magic of habit stacking. After I make coffee, I check my budget app. Before brushing my teeth, I write one idea. After work, I record one short video. The smaller and more automatic the action becomes, the less energy you need to show up. And suddenly, you're consistent without even trying. Why this works? Small equals safe. Routine equals reliable. 2 minutes equals no resistance. This system removes overwhelm, builds trust, and helps you become the kind of person who follows through. How to rewire discipline without shame. Let's get something straight right now. You will mess up. You'll miss a day. You'll snooze the alarm. You'll say, "I'll start again Monday." You'll break the streak. You'll fall off. And when that happens, you have 2 options. Shame yourself and quit. Recalibrate and return. Most people choose shame. And here's why. They think discipline means perfection. But real discipline isn't about never slipping. It's about getting back up without delay, without drama, without destroying your self-worth in the process. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be patterned. Think about a heart monitor. Even a healthy heart has ups and downs. A flat line? That's not discipline. That's death. Your growth will spike and dip. That's okay. That's human. The goal isn't never falling. The goal is to recover quickly and keep the pattern alive. Here's the rule. Never miss twice. If you miss one day, life happens. If you miss 2, now it's a pattern. So don't beat yourself up. Just reset. Messed up your morning routine? Start again at noon. Skipped a workout? Stretch for 5 minutes. Broke your budget? Track the next $10. What to stop saying? I always fail. I'm not built for this. I blew it again. I'll never be consistent. Those phrases are not facts. They're identity curses. And your brain will believe whatever you repeat. What to say instead? I'm learning consistency, one action at a time. I had a rough day, not a ruined future. Even imperfect discipline compounds. I restart as many times as it takes. You're not a machine. You're a builder. Builders don't destroy the whole house when one wall falls. They adjust, rebuild, and keep going. Building identity-based habits. So far, we've covered the external stuff. How to simplify your habits. How to shrink the task. How to recover when you slip. But here's where everything shifts. Because discipline doesn't really live in your calendar. It lives in your identity. Who you believe you are is what you consistently act like. Identity, habits, results. Let me show you how most people approach growth. They set a goal, e.g., lose 20 pounds. They pick a habit, go to the gym. They hope the results will change how they feel about themselves. But this path is backwards. Real change happens when you flip the script. Start with who you want to become. Let that identity guide the habits. Then results naturally follow. Examples. Don't just say, "I want to write a book." Say, "I'm a writer. I write every day, even one sentence." Don't say, "I'm trying to get fit." Say, "I'm the kind of person who moves daily, no matter what." Don't say, "I want to start a business." Say, "I'm an entrepreneur in training. I take one bold step daily." When you embody the identity, the actions become natural. You're not forcing yourself to do something you hate. You're proving to yourself who you are. Identity sticks. Goals slip. You can forget a goal. You can miss a habit. But once you adopt an identity, it sticks. Your habits become an expression of self-respect, not pressure to perform. Start building your new identity today. Ask yourself, what kind of person would already have the results I want? How do they think? How do they plan their day? What do they avoid or say no to? How do they show up when no one's watching? Then, don't just try to be like them. Start becoming them, one small, honest habit at a time. Identity affirmations to repeat daily. I am a builder of consistency. I show up even when it's hard. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep moving. Discipline is who I am, not something I force. I act in alignment with my future self. Visual examples and story-driven scenarios. So, let's bring this down to earth. Because maybe you're still thinking, okay, I get the theory, but what does this actually look like in real life? Let me show you. Scenario 1. The overthinking creator. Meet Daniel. Daniel wants to start a YouTube channel. He has the equipment, the ideas, the talent. But every time he sits down to record, he panics. His inner voice says, what if this sucks? You're not ready. No one's going to watch this anyway. So instead of recording, he watches tutorials, reorganizes his gear, redesigns his banner for the 17th time. 3 months go by. 0 videos published. Then one day, Daniel does something different. He doesn't try to launch a channel. He just says, today I will record 30 seconds of unscripted content, even if I never post it. That's it. 30 seconds. His voice cracks. He stumbles. But he finishes. And the next day, he records 45 seconds. Then a full minute. Within 2 weeks, he's uploading twice a week. Momentum didn't come from mastery. It came from motion. Scenario 2. The burned out overachiever. Meet Alicia. Alicia works full-time, manages a family, and has a side hustle. She's disciplined, but exhausted. Her calendar is full, her energy is drained, and her mornings are chaos. Her version of discipline is brutal. Wake up at 4:45. Don't stop moving. No rest. No grace. Her habits look impressive, but she's quietly resenting every task. One day, Alicia redefines what discipline means. Instead of asking, how much can I get done today? She asks, how can I show up for myself today, with peace and purpose? She keeps her routines, but adds margin. She gives herself room to breathe. She adds a walk without a podcast. She replaces her cold plunge with 10 minutes of prayer. She slows down, and her impact speeds up. Discipline is no longer punishment, it's protection of her peace. Scenario 3. The dreamer who finally started. Meet Jamal. Jamal wants to start an online coaching business. But he keeps thinking, I don't have a website. I don't have a niche. I'm not qualified yet. For months, he plans and overplans. Then he applies the 2-minute rule. Day 1. He writes a 2-sentence description of who he helps. Day 2. He makes a 1-minute video introducing himself. Day 3. He posts it, terrified. Within a week, he's booked 2 free sessions. Within a month, he has his first paying client. He didn't wait for perfection. He built identity through tiny steps. The takeaway: don't try to build the empire in one weekend. Just lay 1 brick each day. Because the people who succeed long-term, they don't have more talent. They have more recovery, more humility, and more alignment. You've made it to the end. And let me tell you something. Most people won't. They'll quit halfway. They'll convince themselves they're too busy. Or worse, that they already know all this. But not you. You're still here. And that means you're ready. Here's the final truth. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another productivity hack. You don't need to suffer your way into success. What you need is to finally believe. You are not the problem. Your system was. And today, you just built a better one. Now, it's time to stop overthinking. Stop planning. Stop doubting. And start acting with compassion, consistency, and clarity. Your challenge. Starting today. 1. Pick one goal that actually matters to you. Not what looks good online. Not what sounds impressive. Just one thing that aligns with your future self. 2. Shrink it down to a 2-minute action. Open the document. Write one sentence. Stretch for 60 seconds. Record one thought. Start stupid small. 3. Repeat that for 7 days straight. No perfection. No pressure. Just pattern proof that you show up. 4. Track identity, not just outcome. Every time you act, say this. I'm becoming a insert identity. I'm becoming a finisher. I'm becoming a builder. I'm becoming consistent. I'm becoming who I was meant to be. Remember this. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And starting today, your system finally supports your future. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what identity are you choosing to build? What's your 2-minute action this week? Where have you been stuck? And what tiny step will break that today? And if this message hit you, share it. Rewatch it. Make it your turning point. Because you don't need a new year. You don't need a breakdown. You don't need to wait for rock bottom. You just need a small decision, made right now, and repeated with love and loyalty. I don't chase discipline. I become it. I don't wait for motivation. I build momentum. And I don't need to force results. When I finally feel aligned with who I'm called to be,